Well, right now, fellas, we got ourselves a treat today. This is the one you guys voted for a few weeks ago. What was going to be the second log on the sawmill here. And it is a nice cherry. Man, this thing is nice. It's about 9 feet in length. And the diameter on the end facing me here at the sawmill is about 17 inches down here. This is the small end. But more importantly, the crotch width right here above it. This is a crotch log. And has, I think, just one. It has one crotch in it. And the width of our crotch is about 23 inches. So that's a good width for some crotch slabs right there. Now, as far as cherry goes, we've never done this on the channel. And cherry is very similar to walnut, not in appearance, but kind of in stability, I think. It's easy to dry. There's a few things you got to worry about when you saw it, and I'll show it to you guys here in just a second. But it's a fairly stable wood once you get it dried, and it makes for some really nice slabs. We'll be sawing these into 9/4 slabs. And there should be some nice crotch figure here at the top. Now, I've never sawed a cherry crotch log before, so this is going to be a first one for me. But it should have some nice figure in here. I've seen other people do it on YouTube and on Instagram, and it always looked like it turned out pretty good. It's probably not going to be as exciting as walnut, but it should be pretty neat though. And being this is an older tree, you should have some really nice grain in here in the crotch. Last time I sawed in cherry was probably a few years ago, and it was about 12 and 14 inches. This is a really good sized cherry for this area. But I want to show you something here on the end. This is the operator end. It's also the small end. The large end facing away from me, the diameter is about 24 inches. But this is the crotch end right here. And you can see right here in the middle, there is a very good sized check that's developed right through the pith. And that check is about 7 inches long. Let me focus in, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And I got a lot of questions on the last video, the pith of the tree, what is that? The pith of the tree is the direct center here of the tree when the tree first started. And this wood around the pith in the early years of growth on this tree is called the juvenile wood, and it's very unstable. A lot of a lot of knots rather in this area here, and a lot of clusters going on where the tree was young. And it's really just unstable, terrible stuff. You can't use it. Or you can use it, you just want to box it in. A lot of people saw this out and get rid of it. If I'm doing slabs, I will do a slab right here and keep it in the middle of a slab. So you get one slab with the pith in it, and with a person who's really good with epoxy, they can make it pretty stable. Or they can also just saw it out later on after it's dried. But what I would usually do here, cherry is known to have a lot of checking. It's one of its bad qualities, I guess you would say. It has a bad tendency to crack. And I Anchorsealed this today. We sawed it down, so you can see even with Anchorseal on cherry, a lot of the times this cracking still occurs. Now I had this log lined up so the crotch wood will be parallel to the sawmill, so we'll get the good crotch figure in it. But if this was not a crotch log and I was just sawing it for regular 5/4 lumber or slabs or what have you, I would turn this log so the pith, or this check on the pith, would be parallel to the bark that I'm sawing off. So it would be turned up this way so that crack would remain in one slab. And in this case right here, the crack is going to be inside of probably 3 slabs. But hopefully it doesn't go too deep. And you're kind of gambling here. The best practice would probably be, the safest practice rather, not the best, the safest practice would be to flip this log up to where this crack is parallel with your blade. That way it's just inside of one slab. But since there's crotch figure here, and it's so much more valuable, we're going to turn it so the crotch wood's going to be captured with the sawmill. With the rest being a few slabs, we'll have this check in it, and hopefully the check doesn't go very deep. We'll see what happens. So down here on the other end of the log, this is the large end, it's about 24 inches. There is a check in it going directly through the pith, and there's a lot of small checks coming out here on the tangential plane. There's more than I can count. There's a real significant one running right down through the middle, one right here. There's 2 hearts right here, actually. That's interesting. So we have the heart right here and a heart right below it. Tell you, these trees, you never know what you're going to get when you turn them up and start looking at them. I did not look at that. I realized that the other night when I was putting this on the mill with the tractor. But we have two hearts right here. That will be interesting to see what kind of wood comes out of this thing as we saw it. And it's going to be very difficult to keep the pith in one slab. So I'm going to really focus all my attention on the crotch end down there when we saw on keeping that pith in the crotch and keeping that pith in one slab. And down here, we're just going to see what happens because it's all centered from down there at the other end because this log swelled out here at the bottom at the butt cut. And it will be impossible to really, these are so close together, I'm not sure. We'll have good slabs from here to here without any pith and from the top. Let's take off the first layer of bark and cut our first slab and see what's hiding underneath here. It should make for some fantastic stuff. Interesting right there. We got our first slab cut, but right over here, we'll have to turn the log up and cut off that, just cut about 2 inches off there, because that's a little bit too wide for the cut throw to the mill. That's the only complaint I have about my sawmill is the width of cut. I wish it would cut about 50 inches wide. It fails me on the width of cut quite often, but besides that, it's a great machine. But we'll peel this first slab off and see what it looks like. And we'll turn the log up on its side and take an inch or two off this end. And I'll probably at that point turn it 180 degrees, put this on the bottom and slab from the bottom of it until we're done. So it should look pretty good. Let's get this first one off and scrape off the dust and see what kind of figure's hiding in there. Now this is the top of that crotch cut, so it's this is the part that's facing the outer part of the tree. So I'm probably not going to have a lot of nice figure in here. On the underside rather, might have some crotch figure start showing up. Bark peels right off. Still some pretty wood. I tell you, it will look really nice when I put the water on it here in just a second. All right, now we were not expecting this. This is the same top side of that slab facing the Bart. And this is down here where those two piths was on that end. And right here is actually the first pith. It comes up right here and it kind of dissipates as the log comes out through there. Right here, we was able to capture some really nice figure right in here. This is a surprise. I was not expecting that in the bottom of this first slab. So let's put some water on this front side just to see what it looks like. Check it out. Fantastic. I was not expecting any kind of figure on the bottom of this log. Man, that looks nice. Turn this thing over and do the same thing. I bet the effects on the bottom of it will probably be better than this side. Oh my goodness. Goodness sakes alive. This right here, the dust is already knocked off of most of it. But this underside is going to be fantastic. My goodness. I was focusing on the other end of this log, trying to capture the crotch wood. And this other end is going to beat it, it looks like, or at least on this first slab. My goodness. I'll bring the camera in. You guys got to see this. That is fantastic right there. So once again, to repeat myself, guys, this is the other end of the log. This is not the crotch end. I was not even focusing on this end of the log. I was focusing on the other end where the crotch was. So let's take the dust off, and this is going to be a really nice surprise right here. Oh my goodness, look at that. Those cathedrals and that crotch wood right there where the pith come up. Man, that is nice right here. My goodness. Fantastic. We'll throw some water on it, but let's do this other end where the crotch is supposed to be. See how it looks. Yep. The crotch is not showing up yet on this end, because this is the first slab, but it will once we get deeper, because you can see it trying to come out right here. This is some really nice figure though. Man, this is a nice cherry. This is the nicest cherry I have ever sawed. I'll tell you that. I've not sawed a lot of cherry. Now the cherry that I have cut on this mill, this is the nicest one yet. And we have got a big pile of cherry to saw over at the log yard about 50 yards away. So get ready for some cherry, guys. We got a lot more to come after this one, but man, this is nice. Let me scrape the whole thing. We'll put some water on it. I think this right here is going to be a fantastic slab to start off with.